And our first story, child rights group Participatory Development Associates is calling on government to make issues affecting street children a priority.
Well, according to the group, subsequent governments have over the years made little or no efforts in ridding the streets of children, and the failure to implement laws has also worsened the situation.
As President Akufo-Addo marks his 100 days in office, the group wants the Ministries of Gender, Children and Social Protection and Inner Cities and Zongo Development to fast-track the fight to take the vulnerable children off the streets.
Hasn't been a priority as far as Participatory Development Association is concerned. We have not seen enough being done, but of course we just had 100 days. So our expectation now is, for the Ministry of Gender to work with civil society more closely, to coordinate, to make sure that whatever affects their child is important. Realize that there ought to be some level of coordination. You find out juvenile, when children fall foul of the law, what structures do we have in place? You need to come together. We need to have a collaboration between civil society and the government. The Ministry of Gender needs to ensure that the government places a lot more emphasis on what is in the best interest of the child. And we think that is strengthening the family structures and strengthening the earning power of the parents so that the children can benefit in the end. We expect quite a lot from the Ministry of Gender, and it's actually a collective thing. We all need to put together civil society, the gender ministry, and even individuals, churches. We all need to think about what we can do to strengthen the family structure, what we need to do to make the society to realize that these children are our future.
And the Dean of Graduate Studies at the Institute of Local Government Studies, Dr. Odrosai, says the MPP government has set the right foundation in its first 100 days in office.
Well, the Akufo-Addo-led administration today marks 100 days in office, and we can't keep re-emphasizing, we can't, we have to keep emphasizing that, the period of the MPP in government has been dominated by activities of the party's vigilante groups and forceful takeovers. Well, Dr. Odrosai says these incidents notwithstanding, the Akufo-Addo-led government has started well.
Something I think for every government, and typical of every country, in your first 100 days, you put the foundation in place, you put the structures in place to enable you prosecute your agenda. My assessment of the first 100 days, one, they've made interim appointments. Two, by way of structure, they've taken over national level governance by way of appointing ministers for the various MDAs. But what is lacking now is their inability to take over the subnational government level, and that is very critical. I also think that they've also been honest with Ghanaians by way of having some of their promises, their manifesto promises, reflected in the budgets, though they are yet to prepare their first development plan. Though we have a development plan running, but within the meaning of Article 35, they are also supposed to come up with something. So all in all, I think they've gotten the governance indicators right. I think they are also expected as an institution or as a government to validate and verify the foundations of the economy and the governance architecture they inherited through the various handing over notes. And in the process of validating them, they've gotten it wrong because of the activities of these invisible forces and the likes. But I think that if they are able to work their way around well, in the next 6 months or so, they will do well.
A leader of the Calvary Charismatic Church, Reverend Obeng, has described President Akufo-Addo's first 100 days in office as impressive. He, however, declined to rate him in terms of percentage.
We'll bring you the story.
Reverend Obeng observed that despite threats posed by pro-NPP vigilante groups and Galamsey issues, governance has generally been good. He wants the administration to decisively address the two critical issues. It's
all the illegal mining and everything is that. Everything needs to take time. They have to sit down with the people that are involved in it. It's through dialogue because nothing can be done out of violence. I repeat, whenever you do anything out of violence, it doesn't result well. So what I would say is that we should involve the people in it, sit down. The first time it doesn't work, but continue, and through that we'll come to a perfect conclusion which everybody will be happy, and then we can save our country. If we exercise patience with prayer, with talk and everything, we'll be able to resolve everything. There is nothing that has been resolved peaceful by violence. Nothing. So let us follow the example of Jesus. You remember when Jesus was going into Jerusalem, he could have driven on a horse, which represent somebody coming with power, with a cane, but he drove on a donkey.
He, however, wants the government to seek advice from Ghanaians, irrespective of their political affiliation. He encouraged Ghanaians to seek God's favor in nation building.
I would say that, on the whole, they are doing well. It's not easy to govern. It's not easy to govern. So on the whole, they are doing well, and my prayers are with them. And if they need any advice when they come to us, those of us who are not left nor right, those of us who will tell you as it is, we will be able to help them so that they can govern our nation in such a way that it will bring honor and glory to everybody. But so far, so good. Should not turn aside. They should not go to the left nor the right. They should hold on to realize that if you say the battle is the Lord, still the battle is the Lord, and we will still win, but it takes time. So that is what I want to encourage them, that they should hold on to the Lord.
And whilst they hold on to the Lord, Ghanaians are being advised to complement government's efforts in developing their communities.
The president of the Dominion University College, Professor Wisdom Gagakuma, said the country's development would accelerate if communities initiated infrastructural projects in their various areas, all to support government's efforts.
Well, he was speaking at a fundraising derby in Chito in the Water region.
Dufia of Chito, Togbi Gobodaka XII, took advantage of the Easter celebrations to raise funds towards development projects in his community. Chito already has a development and heritage fund which financed the construction of 2 boreholes and other projects to benefit residents. Impressed with the efforts of the traditional leaders of Chito, President of the Dominion University College, Professor Wisdom Gagakuma, advised other traditional authorities to be accountable to the people, as this would reignite the diminished spirit of communalism that existed many years ago.
Effective leadership is a rallying point for all youth initiatives. And so if the youth observe conspicuous and perceived inconspicuous, debilitating disagreements and lack of cooperation among the leadership, their inspirations will disappear. And this could breed grounds for factionalism and divide and rule, which undermines the spirit of communalism.
The Dufia of Chito is optimistic the youth of the area would rally behind their elders to develop the community.
It is good we have realized we are relenting on our development agenda. We must work towards developing our community to a satisfactory state. The youth must also accord elders the needed respect. I'm convinced my youth will go all out to contribute to the development of our community.
The Member of Parliament for Ho West, Emmanuel Bidra, praised Chito for its development initiatives and presented 10 sewing machines to some constituents who expressed interest in taking up sewing as a vocation. Fred Kwame Asare's report for Joy News.
In other stories, the Deputy Minister for Gender and Social Protection, Gifty Chumampofo, is calling on parents and teachers to embrace the use of phonetics and local languages at various formation stages in teaching children.
Well, she's blaming challenges that early learners encounter on the departure from that practice, and she says she said this during the distribution of Ghanaian language textbooks for primary 1 and 3 pupils at the Commander Edna Egwafu Ebrim municipality.
The distribution of Ghanaian language textbooks free of charge to schools across the country by We Care for You Children Foundation, a pro-children non-governmental organization, is to facilitate the use of Ghanaian languages in Ghanaian schools. The distribution of the free Ghanaian language books is specifically for children from the kindergarten to primary 3 to enable them learn from the language they know to the second language they do not know. Speaking at the official handing over of the books, Deputy Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Gift Chumampofu, called on teachers to shun the root way of teaching school children. She entreated parents to take keen interest in the development of their children.
Because the child should be able to read the alphabet, and then should be able to read 2-letter words, 3-letter words, 4-letter words. Then they'll begin to read sentences. I appeal to all teachers, especially those who teach the languages, to spend much more time in assisting these students and pupils to read. I will appeal to these teachers again, as they're teaching the children how to read, they should use the phonics. That is, A is A. They shouldn't teach them A, B, C. They should teach them A, B, K, D, so that the children will know that when I add A and B and A, I get Abba. If I add E and G, that is EGG, I get egg. When you teach them EGG and you say it's egg, how are they going to know? But when you teach them egg, egg, then they will appreciate it. So teachers should please use the phonics and spend much more time to teach the students how to read. Once they know how to read, all other subjects and all other disciplines becomes easy, because once they're able to read, they'll pick their understanding as well.
Director of the We Care for You NGO, Michael Ankra, called on Ghanaians to cherish their local language by teaching children with the language they understand in order to learn any other language.
Very often we tend to feel shy about even our own language, and that is the gift God has given us. So we should be proud of our own language and teach these children so that they can also improve upon their lives. We will want to encourage all Ghanaians to be proud of our local language. Sometimes people shy away when even they are speaking the local dialect, but that is the gift God has given us. And if you are not proud of your own language, how can you be proud of other natural things, that resource that God has given you? That is why we tend to destroy everything God has given us, including even the minerals, gold and other things that has become a problem to us. We are destroying our waters because of Galamsey, because we don't even cherish the environment God has given us.
The books have been handed over to the Education Directorate for onward distribution to schools in the Komenda Edna Eguafu municipality. This is the 6th district the distribution of Ghanaian language textbooks have been done by the We Care for You NGO. Richard Kwejonyakon, Joy News, Cape Coast.
That's it for the news roundup this morning. We'll bring you a lot more updates. We'll go to the various online portals, see what's up